Your mind is under attack, but not by enemies you can see. No swords, no shurikens. Instead, you're ambushed by pings, deadlines, endless scrolling. Each moment, your attention is pulled in a dozen directions, and like a ninja caught in open daylight, you're exposed, scattered, vulnerable, unprepared. This is where our story begins. Meet Raiko. He's not a warrior from ancient scrolls, but he may as well be. He wakes up each morning with good intentions, to finally work out, finish that big project, meditate, cut distractions. But before he even blinks, his phone's in his hand, emails, dopamine hits from reels, another task added to the list. Raiko isn't lazy, he's driven. He's read the books, watched the productivity gurus. He even bought a new planner. But every time he tries to focus, his mind resists. It pulls him toward what's easy. YouTube instead of journaling, snacks instead of workouts, comfort instead of progress. And he knows it. That's the worst part. He's aware of the trap, but he can't seem to escape it. He feels like he's at war with himself, trapped in a loop of self-doubt and frustration. He starts questioning his discipline, his motivation, even his worth. And maybe you do too. But here's what most people miss. This isn't a modern problem. Long before smartphones and social media, there were people who fought this same battle. Ninjas. Yes, they were spies and shadow warriors, but above all, they were masters of the mind. They had to be, because if they gave into distraction, even for a second, they'd be dead. To become a ninja wasn't just about combat, it was about conquering your own mind, resisting fear, silencing mental chatter, staying calm when the world screamed for panic. Eastern philosophy teaches us that the mind is like mist, always shifting, hard to hold. But ninjas learned to see through that mist. They didn't suppress their distractions, they observed them. They trained to recognize resistance not as failure, but as the first sign of transformation. A test, not a trap. Raiko didn't know this yet, but his resistance wasn't a flaw. It was his training ground. The more he tried to force focus, the more his mind fought back. Just like the novice ninja who grips the sword too tightly, his effort created tension, not clarity. The first teaching of the ninja mind method? Awareness. To notice the war within, without judging it. To observe the storm without getting swept away by it. Raiko begins to realize he's not weak, he's just never been trained. The same way the ancient shinobi studied the terrain before striking, he must study the terrain of his own thoughts. Because once you become aware of your mental resistance, you stop fighting it and start moving with it. This is step one of the ninja mind. See the mind before you shape it. Awareness is the gateway, and through it, Raiko is about to discover that what feels like chaos can become his greatest clarity. Raiko has taken the first step. He's no longer blind to his inner chaos, but awareness alone doesn't silence the noise. Even now, he still feels the pull. One moment of discomfort, and his mind seeks escape. He tries to force focus, to push harder, grind through. But like quicksand, the more he fights, the deeper he sinks. That's when he discovers something unexpected. A scroll. Not literal parchment, but a passage shared by a mentor, quoting an ancient ninja principle. The shadow does not resist the light. It moves with it. At first, Raiko doesn't understand. How can surrender be the path to strength? Then, he learns about Mu, an idea rooted in Zen and embraced by ninja philosophy. It means emptiness, but not in a hollow sense. Rather, it's the absence of resistance. A state of flow where the mind becomes like water, adaptable, fluid, precise. Ninjas trained in this. They didn't charge through their missions with brute force. They moved silently, patiently, invisibly, with the world, not against it. To resist was to reveal yourself. To force was to fail. Raiko begins to see the wisdom. Maybe his struggle isn't because he lacks discipline, but because he's been battling his own nature. trying to conquer his mind with willpower instead of working with it. He reflects on a quote from an old Taoist master: "By letting it go, it all gets done." This shakes something in him. What if progress doesn't require resistance? What if the path forward is softer, not weaker, but more skillful? So he experiments. Instead of forcing himself to work, he pauses, he breathes, he observes the resistance, and then he moves through it gently. He begins to apply the principle of Mu to his daily life. When he sits down to write, he no longer tries to conquer the task. He flows into it. If he feels discomfort, he acknowledges it without reacting. And like a shadow, he passes through. Even in conversations, in workouts, in daily routines, Raiko applies the same lesson. Flow over force, presence over pressure. This is the second step in the ninja mind, non-resistance. To stop fighting your thoughts and instead flow with them. Like a ninja moving through a crowded street unnoticed, you learn to slip past the noise, not battle it. Raiko feels something shift. Work feels lighter. Focus comes easier. His mind, once a battlefield, begins to feel like a dojo, a place of presence and practice. This doesn't mean there's no challenge, but now, he's no longer wasting energy fighting the current. He's learning to ride it, because when you stop resisting discomfort, you stop giving it control. The way of the ninja isn't to fight the storm, it's to move through it, silently, precisely, with purpose. Raiko is no longer resisting. He's beginning to move like a shadow. Raiko is flowing now. He's no longer clashing with every thought or task, but something is still missing. Though he's learned to stop fighting the current, his mind still wanders, jumping from thought to thought, craving stimulation, noise, motion. That's when he encounters a practice hidden deep in ninja tradition: silent training. The ancient ninjas were not just warriors, they were watchers, observers of every movement, every breath, every shift in energy. They could sense the ripple of a presence before a shadow even moved. How? Through stillness. Ninjas trained in silence for hours, breathing slowly, eyes open, senses heightened, not meditating to escape, but to become acutely aware of everything. This wasn't passivity, it was precision. Raiko begins to try it. He sets aside just 10 minutes a day. He doesn't scroll, he doesn't write, he just sits, breathing, watching. No goals, no hacks, just stillness. And that's when it hits him. Stillness is harder than motion. The moment he sits, his mind erupts. Did I forget that email? What if this is a waste of time? What's the point of just sitting here? But he stays, and slowly he begins to notice what the noise is made of. Old doubts, fear of failure, random urges, mental clutter masquerading as urgency. And beneath that chaos, silence, true silence. Not the absence of sound, but the stillness within sound. The calm in the center of the storm, like the eye of a hurricane. Everything swirling, but inside, peace. Raiko begins to understand something the ancient ninjas lived by. Before a sword is drawn, before a step is taken, there is a pause. That pause contains power. Stillness doesn't slow you down. It sharpens your senses. It aligns your thoughts. It reveals what matters. And it shows you what to ignore. Soon, Raiko's silent training becomes the foundation of everything. When he's overwhelmed, he returns to it. When his focus scatters, he grounds himself in breath. When the world moves too fast, he finds stillness before he moves again. This is the third step in the ninja mind: observation through stillness. To see your thoughts clearly, you must sit with them. To control your reactions, you must feel them first. To master your mind, you must hear what it's saying beneath the noise. This practice doesn't just calm Raiko, it sharpens him. He notices distractions faster. He detaches from impulses quicker. He acts with intention, not reflex. Stillness becomes his secret weapon. And just like a ninja hidden in plain sight, he learns to operate from silence, not tension. Because the greatest strength isn't always found in action. Sometimes it's forged in stillness, in sitting long enough to hear your own mind breathe. Raiko is transforming, no longer just reacting to life. He's learning to observe, reflect, and choose with clarity. And with this foundation, he's finally ready to turn inner stillness into outward power. Stillness gave Raiko clarity. But clarity without action is just theory. The time has come to move, not chaotically, not reactively, but with precision. In the ancient ninja clans, movement was never rushed. Every action, no matter how small, was done with intent. One footstep could mean success or death. One breath could give away your position. That's why they trained with a singular focus, one strike, one mind. Raiko takes this to heart. He begins to shift how he approaches everything, not just his meditation, but his work, his conversations, his goals. He realizes he spent years multitasking, switching tabs, trying to juggle a dozen priorities at once. But each time he splits his focus, he weakens the power behind it. So he makes a choice. One thing at a time. All in. Just like the ninja would approach a mission. Total attention. Total presence. No half effort. No scattered mind. At first, it's difficult. The modern world rewards speed, not stillness. It celebrates hustle, not focus. It pushes quantity over quality. But Raiko is no longer chasing speed. He's chasing mastery. And mastery, the ninjas knew, comes from deliberate repetition. From pouring your full presence into a single action, again and again, until the movement becomes muscle memory and the mind becomes still. He remembers a story of a ninja who trained for hours just to draw his blade silently. Not to impress, not to show off, but to make the motion so clean, so intentional, that it became invisible. That kind of precision is built, not born. This is what Raiko begins to emulate. He doesn't rush into his tasks anymore. Before he begins, he centers himself. He breathes. He chooses one goal. And he moves with clarity, like a blade through air. This is the fourth step in the ninja mind. Focused action. One strike. One mind. He writes with his full attention. He listens without checking his phone. He works out without counting the minutes. He eats, walks, speaks, all with presence. He lives moment by moment, with power. And something incredible happens. He gets more done in less time. Because now, there's no mental drag, no switching, no distractions pulling him sideways. He's not just doing tasks, he's cutting through them, with presence, with precision. This isn't just about productivity, it's about identity. Raiko no longer sees himself as someone trying to be focused. He is focused. He is deliberate. Like a ninja entering a mission. He walks into each day with intention. One task, one breath, one strike. No wasted motion, no wasted time. Because when you live with one mind, you don't need to do 100 things. You only need to do the right thing. Well, and Raiko knows now. Every action is a choice, a chance to be scattered or sharp, distracted or precise. And with each strike, he's sharpening not just his focus, but his entire life. Raiko is focused now. His actions are intentional. His mind is calm, his movements precise. But then something unexpected happens. He starts to feel frustrated. He's showing up daily. He's applying everything, stillness, flow, focus. And yet, the results aren't coming fast enough. The progress feels slow. The goals still feel far away. And in that space between effort and reward, impatience creeps in. This is where most people give up. They try a new system, a new strategy. But when the dopamine fades and the results lag, they return to distraction. Not because they're weak, but because they never learned the one virtue that completes the ninja mind: patience. Raiko remembers a lesson from his training. The lotus flower, a sacred symbol in Eastern philosophy, doesn't bloom in clean water. It rises slowly through thick mud, growing unseen for weeks, even months, before revealing its beauty. The ancient ninjas understood this. They trained for years in obscurity. There were no overnight masters, no instant victories. Progress was earned, quietly, patiently, and over time. Raiko begins to shift his mindset. He stops measuring success in daily outcomes and starts measuring it in consistency, in discipline, in how he shows up, not what he achieves in the moment. And the pressure eases. He realizes the seed doesn't need to force the flower to bloom. It just needs to grow, one layer at a time. This is the fifth and final step in the ninja mind, the art of patience. When you plant the right habits, focus your mind, move with intent. You must also give time its space. You can't rush transformation. You can only nurture it. Raiko stops chasing the end result. He embraces the journey. He finds joy in repetition, in the quiet rituals of focus, in the slow sharpening of his mind, in the growth that's invisible to others but undeniable to himself. And slowly, something blossoms. The same tasks that once felt exhausting now feel effortless. He's no longer in a hurry. He's in harmony. The goals, they're coming, but they no longer define him. His identity is no longer built on what he achieves, but on how he trains, how he thinks, how he waits. Patience is not passivity, it's power, channeled over time. Like the ninja hiding in the shadows, waiting for the exact moment to strike. Raiko learns that timing is everything. He's no longer rushing through life. He's aligned with it. Calm, clear, certain. And now, it's your turn. Where are you in this journey? Are you resisting, rushing, or ready to move with intention? Start small. Maybe with a few minutes of stillness, a single focused task, or simply giving yourself permission to grow, slowly and with grace. Because just like Raiko, your bloom is coming, not by force, not by speed, but by patience. Let your ninja mind guide you there. And if this message resonated, don't keep it to yourself. Like the video, subscribe, and let's continue mastering the mind together.